Keeping our children healthy is all the more important with COVID still unfortunately lingering, and making sure their bodies can fight off germs starts before we even send them off to school. Dr. Tandua Washington from Kaiser Permanente recently shared some tips with me. Take a look. Doctor, I cannot believe we're going on 2.5 years of COVID impacting our schools, our children. Beyond the masks, how can parents send their kids back to school protected?
Yes, it's been a long 2 years of COVID, and I know everyone's ready to get back to a sense of normalcy, but we definitely want to make sure that our children are protected when they head back to school. So I would absolutely recommend vaccination. We can now vaccinate children from ages of 6 months on up, so all school-age children can be vaccinated. And you can obtain the vaccine through your local healthcare provider, health department, or even your neighborhood pharmacy.
Yes, they've made it very easy for us. But, you know, recently one of my kids came back from camp with a cough, the runny nose. I tested her, not COVID. So, you know, we're also, you know, oh gosh, what's this? Sniffles, is it COVID? But there are other illnesses that we need to be aware of, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we've been inundated with COVID over the last 2 years, but other childhood illnesses have not gone away. So we're still seeing cold and flu viruses, stomach bugs, strep throats, all the usual suspects. So these things have not gone away, and we want to protect our children against these as well and be aware of the symptoms.
Exactly. Any advice for us in terms of, you know, if we do see those symptoms, the onset of symptoms, just make sure, you know, we obviously give them whatever they need in terms of, you know, over-the-counter medicine or prescription, but any other just simple steps for us?
Yes, absolutely. So keep your child home if they're sick, especially if they have a fever or any symptoms consistent with COVID. Even though it might not be COVID, we do want to make sure that we're preventing spread, at least until we're sure. And so I would recommend keeping them home. If they have any unusual symptoms, fever, vomiting, make sure you reach out to your healthcare provider, even if that's by video. But we want to make sure that we're keeping them safe, keeping them protected against all the typical childhood illnesses.
Yeah, I was actually with a mom yesterday who was sending her kid off to school for the first time, her little toddler, off to a daycare. She was so apprehensive, not just for all the normal reasons, but now, of course, with the threat of COVID. So how can they best prepare?
Well, you know, it's challenging with the little ones, but even at 4 and 5, we can start teaching them to do good hand washing, good hand sanitizing, cover their mouth if they have to sneeze. And even more importantly, don't share anything in terms of food, drinks, utensils.
Oh, right.
So we can start teaching that very early on. And hopefully that will give them a great head start as they head into kindergarten.
Sure. And anything else, any other advice you have for parents? I know when I was feeling sick this summer, I got some elderberry gummies. Well, next thing you know, they were gone.
Elderberry.
I know, they were gone within weeks. So I was like, well, don't OD on them, kids. Take them as directed. But, you know, those things like that, vitamin C, do you recommend that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, we want to get back to the basics. And so really healthy eating, especially for our high schoolers. Sometimes they leave the house so early they don't have time for breakfast. So whatever you can do to ensure that they're getting the vitamins and the nutrients they need and to boost their immune system. And so elderberry, vitamin C, vitamin D possibly.
Yeah.
It might be good to talk with your healthcare provider about your child's specific needs. But just in general, good, healthy habits at home, making sure they're getting great sleep at night is also really important to keep their immune system strong.
Absolutely. Great tips, doctor. Thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, very important advice as we send the kids off for a successful school year. That's all we want for them. Thank you, Dr. Washington and Kaiser Permanente for sponsoring that segment. Well, coming up, are you looking to